Hello and welcome back to the Stacey West YouTube channel. In what has been quite a busy week, shall we say, or at least a very busy 24 hours so far. But we have actually got a game to look ahead to. I'm sure some people might like a little bit of a break, but no, we have a game on Saturday, and that is away up at Fleetwood. So, of course, there is only one person who I could be joined by for that, and that is Mr. Knappers himself, Cods Vlogs. How are we doing, mate?
I'm very good, thank you, mate. Again, looking forward to the game. We have had a break, so it is nice to be back in action. I went to Carlisle against Leighton Orient last week for my League One fix, and no, I'm looking forward to the game. I've always, liked Lincoln as a football club. Always enjoyed, our meetings with you, and hopefully it's another interesting encounter.
Very much so. Hopefully it's better than what the away trip was like last season for us anyway, because don't really fancy travelling up there, standing on the terrace in the freezing cold for a 2-1 loss, I believe it was.
Jaden Stockley masterclass.
Yeah, let's not mention that name. No. So look, this kind of feels a bit like a deja vu because we played Burton last Saturday, and one of the questions that we asked to the Burton fan who came on the channel was the exact same question that I'm about to ask you. Really tough start to the season, and then it's obviously started to pick up. But talk me through that really tough start of the season when obviously Scott Brown was still in charge. What happened? What went wrong?
A mixture of things. Obviously, people will be the first one to point towards the ownership of the football club. And I think that had absolutely anything to do with the ongoing on the pitch. You can maybe rumble, or was there a bit of, the club doesn't know where it's at. But as a whole, the squad that was going onto the pitch was good. Obviously, Hewitt with Gary, you actually put Fleetwood in the playoffs, I think, as well, because of the signings that Fleetwood made. And the likes of, Danny Mayer, keeping Stockley, keeping Marriott, keeping Brendan Wiredu, and, we're adding to that, bunch of, talent that we had at the football club. But what was going wrong was we were just making a mistake and we couldn't find a way through. So we make a mistake, go a goal down and couldn't get back into the game. And, in every game we were in my opinion, from Carlisle away, we got a point. Cambridge at home, we were poor. We lost the game. Derby and Bolton, we had chances. You concede a couple of goals. When you make mistakes, you lose games of football. Shrewsbury, a player slips, they go through, score. A minute later, our goalkeeper gets sent off. We're down to 10. If we don't go a goal down, I don't think our keeper gets sent off. And then Charlton away, we give away a daft penalty. So it's been a really difficult start. We've improved a little bit. We still look a little bit tedious in front of goal. And when we go a goal down, it's kind of like, well, the rest of the game is ruined, unfortunately. So it's been a frustrating start. But I kind of think you need to tell yourself there's still 35 games left here. And on points per game, I think, I've hardly looked at the table, if I'm honest with you. One, because Fleetwood in the bottom four, and two, because it's way too early. Ask me again, probably at the end of this month, when you've kind of played 15, 16 games, third of the season. But I think on points per game, we would be out of that bottom four. So a long way to go. And I kind of keep telling myself, well, Fleetwood only need 39, probably about 42, 43 points, from the remaining 35 games, and that's really achievable. Yeah.
Well, absolutely, and I don't expect you guys to be in the bottom four at the end of the season. If it was me, nowhere near. It is obviously quite funny to laugh at Gary, like you say, he did put you guys in the playoffs, and very much obviously not there at the minute. But you kind of alluded to something that I was going to kind of mention anyway. You obviously do seem to struggle to score on the basis of the stats. I mean, your goals per shots is one of the lowest in the league. Obviously Cheltenham's is lower, but it's one of the lowest in the league, and stats like that. I sort of just want to, is it an issue with a lack of clinicality up front, or is it the fact that the chances you're creating and the shots you're taking just you're not able to sort of break through that final line and get better chances, or is it the fact that you're just not able to put good chances away?
You've just nailed it. We can't create, better chances. And when we do, we miss them. And, it's kind of like, well, we've been so unlucky again. We've hit the bar a couple of times at Derby, we've hit the post a couple of times. And, you've got clinical strikers in Stockley, in Marriott. Marriott has actually got up and running recently, 3-3. We now need Stockley up and running. We need more from our midfield, the likes of, Danny Mayer. We've got goals from, wide areas, Junior Turner. Hopefully Phoenix Patterson can come back into the fold at some point as well. So no, it's been a weird start in that sense, but I'm just hoping as soon as we get a couple of goals, like you win 2 games and you kind of think, well, your season's back on track, and to go and lose 4-1, if we go and lose at 1-0 or draw the game or even win it, we're sat here having a totally different conversation. But I think because we lost 4-1 in the mannerism that we lost, the issue is I don't think the issue is Fleetwood in front of goal at this moment in time. It's defensively. We're not good enough, and we're letting so many chances. Players getting behind, and it's been a real tedious start to the season.
When you say defensively you're not good enough, because it's something that we've spoken about at Lincoln over the past few weeks. We've kind of had a couple of issues defensively. Is it a tactical issue, or is it purely just individual errors? Because obviously you can only coach that so far. So what's the kind of main issue in that sense?
I can't put my finger on it, but if I had to, I'd be looking at, well, look, we've tried a back 3, that did not work. We've tried a back 4. We haven't got the players to play the way we want to play. Now, Fleetwood have had, honestly, one permanent left back for 5 years in Danny Andrew. Danny Andrew leaves in the summer. We signed a lad on loan from Celtic in Adam Montgomery, and he's not been fit. He's played, one pre-season game and one, Papa John's trophy game against Tranmere, about 4 to 5 weeks ago, and been injured ever since. He's been back in the fold on the training grass, Lee Johnson says. So it'll be interesting to see his press conference at some point today about what he says about the injuries. But we've had Sean Rooney out injured and Brendan Wirradu out injured, so we've not really had our best defence out. So I think I think at most points, I think up to 2 weeks ago, our normal back 4, which would be Adam Montgomery, Josh Earl, Brendan Wirradu, and Sean Rooney were all out injured. Then we brought Ben Hennigan in. We started to play a 5 again. Well, Hennigan's just come in. He was the only one, and he's only played 3 games. He's obviously got sent off in the last game, so won't be playing this game. So we've had them all out injured. So it's been a real kind of mixture of injuries, suspensions, not having players fit. Because when Fleetwood's team is fit, it's a good team. It really is a good team.
Oh, of course.
Needs to put results together, and I don't think we're too far off. I think Lincoln are better than Fleetwood by, I wouldn't say much, but probably by 10-15%, when your squad's fully fit. But I think you're also seeing the impact. You get a couple of attackers injured. I think this screams 0-0. You've got good strikers out. This weekend, obviously, you've had Walker out, you've got Ben House out, you've got obviously Danny Man draw you out. And we've obviously got our better defence now. So 0-0 or 3-0, I think it's going to be.
Well, I wouldn't be too upset with a draw away at your place, I have got to be honest. But you sort of alluded to it there with the defence, especially. But one of the key stats, especially at this kind of stage of the season, sort of 10 to 15 games in, one of the stats I really like to look at is how many minutes. Basically, have you got a player that has played almost or every minute of the games so far? And I think your highest is literally just 901 minutes over 12 matches. Is that an issue? Obviously, you've mentioned with the defence is kind of a few injuries. Is that an issue with injuries across the whole squad, or is that just that you've not really been settled week in, week out on having a starting 11 that you're happy with? Obviously, the managerial change will affect that. I get that. But have you really looked settled at a starting 11?
I don't think so. I think as well, I don't think the starting 11 that either manager just picked has been the best one. I think Phoenix Patterson should be playing. I think he actually came on and changed the game when we played you at Highbury. It was actually my birthday last year, and we beat you 2-1. And I think he put the cross in for the winner, and put some belt and cross into the box. He should be playing every week. But you've had Vella out, with suspension. He's already got 6 yellow cards, Josh Vella, and he's played 8 games, 9 games, which is I think he's actually got 1 in the checker trade as well. So that's 7. For a midfielder, your captain, and you got Josh Earl who was out injured, Brendan Wirradu. So it is injuries, and also a bit of the squad isn't quite settled at this moment. And when you lose games, you tend to tinker and throw the dice a little bit. And Lee Johnson, at home to Oxford, he made 3 subs, and at home to Wycombe, he made 3 subs at half time because we were 2-0 down and 3-0 down respectively.
Yeah, sometimes it's. the thing is being able to change a game and having the quality off the bench. There's no denying that you have got the players there, but like you say, sometimes you have to question why they're not starting. You obviously sort of mentioned Lee Johnson in passing a couple of times now. He's now obviously been in for over a month, I believe, was at the start of September that he came in. So what kind of wholesale changes have been visible on the pitch?
Pressing, Fleetwood are pressing a lot higher and players look a little bit fitter, and I kind of think you see the demand that he asks of them. I kind of think sometimes Fleetwood struggle in the last 20 minutes because of the way they worked, and they're maybe not quite used to it. They weren't fit enough. They've not been fit enough for some time under Scott Brown, and it's not always the manager's fault. I think you've got to look at the backroom staff as well. At how are the players training? Are they doing enough? So I'd probably say fitness as well. Players are smiling again as well. Mario's been scoring goals as well. And he's kind of. His press conferences are actually good to listen to as well. So I know Lincoln have actually got great memories against him. Obviously, you beat them in the playoffs, didn't you? Where a memorable day at Sinsel Bank, and you managed to go to the Stadium of Light and hold them out. And Tom Hopper, turned into the Alan Shearer, didn't he? And obviously, I think you won 3-0, a couple of seasons ago, didn't you? Where Chris Maguire went back and scored a hat trick. So you've got great memories against him, and hopefully that can change come Saturday.
Well, I hope not, but yes, absolutely. We can obviously dream that we can have a really good game. So you kind of mentioned that you've been between sort of a 4-back, a 3-back, not really settled. How are we kind of expecting you to line up shape-wise on Saturday then?
I don't know, because obviously, with Fleetwood, obviously we've got players coming back from international. I'd probably say it's going to be a back three, 3-5-2 or 3-4-3 more than likely. With kind of 5 defenders and wingers up front as well. So it'll be very interesting. But obviously, you've played in a similar way as well. You might roll the dice a little bit, with the sacking yesterday. So it could all be very different. I think kind of what we start with is probably what we won't finish with.
Oh, that's fair enough. Yeah, I'm not actually sure at all what's going to happen with us on Saturday. I would probably expect we'll just go status quo, 3-4-3. Potentially a 3-5-2, but I would maybe more expect a 3-4-3, like you say, and we'll just carry on with doing what we're doing. Obviously, sort of mentioned our sacking yesterday. There's been obviously a good bit of news coming out of Lincoln. Like I say, obviously with Kennedy going. How do you, as an opposition fan, how do you kind of view not just what happened last night, but also Lincoln's season so far, and where you think we are as a club, and do you see our natural progression being going up to the Championship, for example?
Lincoln squad with fully fit, with Tyler Walker, Ben House, Danny Mandroy coming back into the fold, which they will soon be doing. I reckon there's a top 8, top 9 squad in League One. Now your issue is, unfortunately for you, Portsmouth, Bolton, Oxford, Peterborough, those cyber clubs, Blackpool, being one as well. Charlton, I've just named 6, haven't I? Have got better squads than you. You've probably got as good 11s, if not better 11s. I think your midfield too of Ethan Erahan and Ethan Hamilton, double Ethans, is one of the best 2 midfielders you could ask for. At this level, you've got someone that can hold the ball up, pass it, move it, and you've got someone that can score goals like Ethan did it away to Shrewsbury. So I see you as a good club, as a good, a great fan base. The best home fans in the division up there with Portsmouth. In my opinion, every time I've been to the Bank, I've been fully impressed. But your squad is very, very good, and it's just injuries are killing you right now. And I kind of thought last year Mark Kennedy was a bit like Scott Brown. He did what was expected of him. I don't think he pulled up any trees. I think a couple of results got him out of it, a bit like it did with Scott Brown. The results away at Plymouth, the result away at Ipswich, obviously you had great results away at Wednesday, and you're getting a point there, and you were really impressive away at better sides, but against the sides that you should be beating at home, you drew too many games of football. And I kind of thought, would a better manager have got you out of that? Yes, I thought he did an okay job, and I thought this season, the last few games has killed him. If he wins those games of football in the playoffs, he's doing a good job. So, that's the brutality of football. Obviously, you gave him, I think, a 4-year deal, didn't you? At the start, and it was a gamble. And did it work? I don't think it worked, but I don't think it failed. I kind of think that's one thing you've got to say. He didn't do a bad job. He didn't get you relegated. He didn't get you anywhere near the bottom four, but it just quite didn't fall for him at giving opportunities. And now someone needs to come in and work with this bunch of players. Take them on, because this is a good talented squad that, in my opinion, you could still, force yourself into the top six. This squad is a better squad than you had, 3 years ago when you got into the playoffs. Unfortunately, then you had a star called Brennan Johnson, didn't you?
We certainly did, and I'm sure we wouldn't mind a couple of those players back now. But yeah, I very much agree. I think the fact it surprised a lot of people, the sacking last night, it's not like his head was being called for week in, week out. So I very much agree in the fact he didn't fail. He never failed at Lincoln. He did. In fact, he probably overachieved last season. I think he got us into a really, really good position. A lot of us would have just been happy, being comfortable staying up, but we got into the top half, and that was a really, really kind of positive thing. Don't really think this squad has been utilised enough to its best ability so far this season. So for me, it's the natural progression of this club, and I wholeheartedly agree with the decision. But yeah, I guess looking ahead to Saturday, bringing it back to Fleetwood. Score prediction then. What do we think?
1-1. Very tight game. Two decent sides. Obviously, have managerial issues. Lincoln, been decent, in patches away from home. Obviously, if you look at the game that you've lost, bar the Burton one, obviously the Leyton Orient one, doesn't count now, does it? But losing to Peterborough away, there's no shame in that. Losing to Portsmouth away, there's no shame in that. Losing to Bolton on the opening day, there's no shame in that. So, look, you've lost 3 or 4 away games in there, but you look at the sides that you've lost, and even Leyton Orient away 1-0 that obviously doesn't stand now. They're a really good side, and with that result, they would be 7th in the league right now. So, obviously, we won't underestimate. You're a good side, and I think you'll do very well this season.
I'm going to be honest. I'm going to say a 2-0 away victory. And that might be really, really optimistic. But I know you guys typically have more possession than your opposition when I was sort of looking through the stats in games. So I feel like that's going to be a system, it's going to suit us well. Sit off the ball, but try to sort of dominate the game without it. And then if you are making a couple of individual errors at the back, we've got the quality there to be able to take advantage of that. We might not be able to sort of create massive amounts of chances in games because, we know our attacking situation at the minute. But I feel like if you're going to give us opportunities, we're going to have the quality to be able to take them. So on that, I'm going to say an away victory. But again, that might just be stupidly optimistic. But we can dream, can't we? Honestly, thank you so much for coming on. Everybody make sure to go check out Cod's vlogs and also the That League One podcast, I do believe. If I got that name.
That is correct. Yeah. So, thank you again, Charlie, for having me on, mate.
No, thank you. And, good luck for this game and the rest of the season.
You too, mate. Thank you.